I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. In this particular episode, we're going to do something different. I'm going to lower the speed a little bit, and I'm going to do this particular episode by myself. And the reason being, I want to give you a gift. I want to give you a gift that'll change your life forever. And I mean this most sincerely. This won't cost you anything. You will learn it during our time together right now, and you can do it at any time, anywhere, for anything, and for free. This has been proven to work over the last 20 some years. I've written about it in 3 different books. I've done 3 seminars on it. I have lots of video courses and more. But I'm going to give all of this to you because my mission is to help you. Every week on this weekly TV show, I give you inspiration and information to help you attract your dreams, whatever they might be. And that's what I've been doing every week. But this week, I want to do a solo. I want to do a solo because I want to tell you one of the most amazing stories you're ever going to hear, a true story. I first heard this story 20 some years ago. And the story was about a therapist who helped heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals. And he helped heal them not by working on the patients, but somehow working on himself. By doing his own inner work, he influenced everybody in a mental institution for the criminally insane. Now, when I first heard this story, I thought, this isn't true. This is an urban legend. I've heard of magic and I've heard of miracles, and I believe in the impossible becoming possible. But a therapist healing mentally ill criminals without actually working on them, that didn't sound true. So I wisely dismissed it. And I say that jokingly because a year afterwards, I heard the story again. And I thought, if this story is true, if it's really true, then the world needs to know about this. And more than that, whatever method he used to heal those criminals may be something you and I could use. So I went on a quest. And back then, there was nothing about that therapist, and there was nothing about his technique that he was using. That was in the early days of the internet and the early days of knowing the story. But I even hired a private investigator to do some work, and I hired researchers, and I found the therapist. And I got on the phone with him. He was in California, I was in Texas, and I grilled him for 45 minutes, and he was very open, he was very generous. He told me the whole story. It was all true. He said he was practicing something called Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. You don't need to know the word or how to pronounce the word or how to spell the word. I'm going to describe all of this to you as we go through this particular episode. So he's telling me he did something called Ho'oponopono, which obviously I had never heard of at the time. And I said, well, what is it? He said, it's a modern Hawaiian healing system. And he said his only job in life was to clear himself of his perceptions, his beliefs, what he called data. He went on to say, as he cleared himself of his internal beliefs and data, the outer world responded to it. So when he was in the mental institution working with those inmates that were so dangerous they had to be shackled or sedated on a daily basis. That's how rugged, that's how dangerous this hospital was. He said when he was there, he didn't work on them. His job was to work on himself. The state hospital needed to have some sort of licensed doctor there to get their funding. And he agreed to be there as long as he didn't have to actually work with the patients, not directly. So he worked on them indirectly, he worked on himself. Now, none of this was making sense to me at the time, and it may not be making sense to you at this very moment, but stay with me because this gets really good. He went on to tell me that by working on himself, clearing his beliefs, clearing his perceptions, slowly the patients responded to it. So in other words, he's doing this strange thing called Ho'oponopono inside himself. And as he's doing it inside himself, the patients are healing. They're actually recovering. They're actually becoming so normal again that they don't need to be shackled. They don't need to be sedated. And within a very short period of time, they started to be pronounced as normal, and they started to be released back into society. I mean, this is mind-blowing when you think about this. This is a story on the level of the miraculous. And so I thought, I have to know more. And so I flew to California. And I did a workshop, the very first one that he was doing, the next one that was available. And I met with the therapist. His name is Dr. E. Haleakala Hu Len. I call him Dr. Hu Len, sometimes Dr. Len for short, just to make it easier for all of us. He told me all about the modern version of Ho'oponopono. He said there's an old school version of Ho'oponopono that takes place in a group where there's a problem among the group and they have a father figure that goes around, hears everybody's vocalizing of the problem, and they try to find a resolution. And a lot of it is based on forgiveness. A lot of it is based on repentance. A lot of it is based on just listening. But he said modern Ho'oponopono was brought to the world by his teacher, and her name was Morna. And Morna said, we don't need the other people. She was enlightened, and she got the insight, the inspiration that all the other people that we think are in our lives are actually kind of figments of our imagination. No, stay with me. Stay with me. They're projections from our subconscious mind, or projections from our unconscious mind. Now, please stay with me to hear this entire story and how you can apply it. Because I have heard at this point, 20 some years of hearing different people writing to me with their case studies, that everything you can think of has been handled, from relationship problems to financial problems to health problems to personal problems to professional problems to problems with your pets that need healing, world events, and more. All of it has been addressed. All of it has been changed. All of it can be transformed with this thing called modern Ho'oponopono. So Dr. Hu Len went on to teach me this. And he said, at the very basic fundamental level, you have to understand that A, you are totally responsible for everything in your life. Now, that doesn't mean you're to blame for anything in your life, but it does mean you're responsible for everything in your life. So if a person, place, or thing is bothering you, you are the one responsible for changing it. But in Ho'oponopono, you don't change the other person. You don't change whatever the situation or the problem is perceived to be on the outside. You change you on the inside. This is the secret to how he helped change everybody in that mental institution. He was clearing with Ho'oponopono his perceptions of the patients as he was looking at their charts. Let me explain this. So he would look at the records of the patients in the mental institution. And these were people who did very bad things. They were rapists, they were murderers, they were violent criminals. That's why they were in a mental hospital for the criminally insane. So Dr. Hu Len's looking at their records. As he's looking at their records, he's feeling, he's responding. And his feelings could be rage, it could be embarrassment, it could be grief, it could be shame, it could be any number of variables. You might even imagine what you would go through if you're looking at records like that. How would you feel? And so Dr. Hu Len said, whatever he was feeling is what he would work on. This is another clue. So the very first clue is you are totally responsible for everything going on in your life. The second clue is you change everything going on in your life by going inside yourself and changing your perception. My work with Dr. Hu Len taught me that everything we experience, everything is on the inside of us. We can point fingers and we can blame the president, we can blame the virus, we can blame world events, we can blame global warming, we can blame individual people, we can blame our parents, we can blame our neighbors, we can blame our employer, we can blame the economy. But everything we experience is actually being experienced internally. It almost doesn't matter who you point a finger at because you're not pointing in the right direction. All the work takes place inside. All right. So that's the second thing, because everything is done inside yourself. And that's what he was doing inside himself as he looked at those records. The third thing that he was doing is he was asking for clarity. He was asking that his perception be cleared, be cleaned. And cleared and cleaned of what? His data, his beliefs, his mindset, his program. On a almost mystical level, his programming, his belief system is part of what was creating what he was experiencing. So if he can rewrite or even delete the programs in him that was creating the outer world, then he might be able to find peace, which is the goal. The goal is to find inner peace. The goal is to find inner serenity. The goal is to find a word that I love, imperturbability. That's all available. But our belief system, our programming, our mindset, our upbringing, all of that software of the mind gets in the way. So Dr. Hulen is telling me all this, and Dr. Hulen is teaching this to me. And he says, this is the basic thing that I do. I go to the divine. And you might use the word God, you could use the word universe, you can use the word cosmos. There's all kind of different words for what most of us would agree is a higher power. We're the pipsqueaks here. Our little egos think we're running the show. We're not. We're deceiving ourselves if we think we're the ones in charge. There's a higher power in charge. And you can go to the higher power and request the healing, the clarity, the cleaning. You can request it. And in Ho'oponopono, the way that you request it is a kind of a prayer. It's a kind of a petition. Inside yourself, you're saying 4 simple phrases. 4 simple phrases. And here they are. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's it. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. How hard is that to say? What Dr. Hulen was teaching was that by going inside and kind of having a conversation with his connection to the divine, he is saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, as a combination lock, so to speak, to unlock what was blocking him from peace. So to give you more of a concrete example, and this is what he was teaching me as I got to know him better, is that he would feel whatever he's feeling. So it's very important not to deny your feelings. Whatever it is that you're feeling is real for you in this moment. So as he is feeling rage or embarrassment or whatever you're feeling right now, he notices it's inside him. So he then takes total responsibility for it. He can't blame anybody else for what he's feeling inside. Yes, we do blame other people, but it's inaccurate. It's not the other people. They act like triggers, but that's like being upset at the movie you're watching. The projection to the movie is putting it out there on the screen. You're seeing it and responding to an image. Your response is what needs corrected. Your response is a perception based on your current beliefs. So we go inside because we're taking responsibility. We're not asking anybody else to change. We go inside to change ourselves. We make our phone call, so to speak, to God, to the divine, to the cosmos, to Gaia, to the higher power. I sometimes just say it's the great something, to the great something. Joseph Campbell called it the great mystery. So I go to the great something, and then I'm saying a kind of prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Now, I've written 3 books on this, and I have certification programs, and I've done events with Dr. Hulen. So I know how to explain this to you. When you say those 4 phrases, you're actually saying something a little bit longer, but it's a more subliminal. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. What you're really saying is, I'm sorry for being unconscious to my own beliefs, to my own perceptions, to my own sense of responsibility. Please forgive me for being unaware. Please forgive me and forgive my ancestors, because in Ho'oponopono, we feel that everything done before has been downloaded. It went to the downline, and you're the downline. You've received it. So whatever's going on in you may have been inherited. Epigenetics, the current science, says that some of what was in your great-great-grandmothers is showing up in you. You had nothing to do with it, but you now have it. And because you have it, you take responsibility for it. So I'm sorry and please forgive me are just statements that you've been unconscious, and we all have. Thank you is saying with gratitude, thank you for taking care of this problem. Thank you for resolving this issue with me. Thank you for taking care of my perceptions and deleting whatever the programming was. And I love you, which is my favorite statement. I love you is saying, I love you for this process. I love you for Ho'oponopono. I love you for this healing. I love you for my life. I love you for everything that I've taken for granted before. So when you say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, you're actually saying a mouthful, but you're saying it in a kind of a shorthand. So when Dr. Hu-Len goes inside himself and he says, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, he is saying this as a prayer. And what his goal is, if there's a goal at all, is for him to be back at peace. When he gets back at peace, then the mirage, the illusion, the projection can actually change. Now stop and think. The greatest example of this is Dr. Hu-Len being a therapist, going to a mental hospital for the criminally insane in Hawaii, working on his perceptions about the people he's seeing, and the people change. And the people change. If this worked for mentally ill criminals, think of what it can do for you and I. Now, as I said, I've been teaching this for 2 decades now, so I've seen people use it in all walks of life. And what I want to do is invite you to experience this right now. I said this particular episode, this whole show is for you. It is a gift. It is just you and me. No guest, no teleprompter, nobody else in the room. I'm speaking to you from my heart. I have asked divinity to come in. I have been doing, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, all the way up to showtime. And I'm even doing it right now because it's become the background audio, the self-talk in my head, and it will for you in time. And so I'm doing all of this to be present for you. And now what I want you to do is to actually feel this. So think of a problem that you have right now. It could be a problem in a relationship, a problem with another person. It could be a problem with yourself. It could be a financial problem. It could be a health problem. It could be a personal, professional problem. It could be that you're simply afraid because of what goes on in the world or is going on in the world right now. And a part of you is nervous. Pick something. Pick anything. Whatever comes to mind as topmost that is in your consciousness as being an issue for you right now, accept that. Let's start with that. All right. So now you have some sort of issue that you want to clear. You want to get rid of this. You want to change this, right? You want to transform it. So the first thing is you're going to take total responsibility for it. Nobody else is to blame. I know it's easy, and the mass of men and women will blame other people. But is that really getting us anywhere? That's how wars start. That's how relationships end. What we want to do is heal. We want to transform. This is the time of the Great Awakening. And you and I can help us accelerate that Great Awakening by taking responsibility. So you take responsibility for your problem. I'm not saying you're to blame. You are not to be punished. You did not do this intentionally. This is something that has come into your life. Call it the law of attraction, call it karma, but it's in your life for unconscious reasons. When I was homeless, I didn't intentionally say, oh, I want to be homeless, because that would be aiding me in becoming a great writer and having a great story to tell one day. No. Being homeless and later in poverty and going through all the struggle I went through was in my subconscious mind. I had subconscious beliefs that was creating it, but I didn't know Ho'oponopono back then. So now we do know Ho'oponopono. You're taking responsibility. You know that your perceptions of what you're calling a problem are inside of you. In fact, somebody else could look at the same issue and say, that's not a problem at all, because they don't have it as their perception. You have it as your perception, and your perception is in you. So what we want to do is correct your perception. In fact, Ho'oponopono in Hawaii means to make right. All of this is what Dr. Hu-Len had taught me. And so I'm inviting you to go within, take responsibility, realize it's your unconscious/subconscious perceptions that have created or attracted the situation that you're in. And now, as you're already inside yourself, because that's where you're feeling the discomfort, as you're already inside yourself, you want to at least pretend that you're talking to your creator, whoever, whatever that is for you. And as you're talking to the creator and you're feeling what you're feeling, you're taking it to the creator saying, fix this. You're basically saying, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I don't know how to fix this problem. Please forgive me for whatever part, whatever role my brain, my software, my personality created this. Forgive me and my ancestors for having anything to do with the creation of this. And I love you. Thank you. And I love you for the process and for the healing. So you can try that right now. And in fact, I'm going to pause for a moment. I'll say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you as a way to encourage you. You don't need to say these phrases out loud. You're saying them internally. You don't need to say these phrases to anybody else. This is an inside private communication with the most intimate force of all, your creator. So as you're feeling your problem and you're going inside yourself, just pretend or actually speak internally, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You know, when you say that just a few times, your mind starts to pick it up. And it starts to become the background tape, so to speak, the background voice in your head. It can replace your self-talk. Most of our self-talk is very critical, but Ho'oponopono with the 4 phrases can replace all of that and give you something more beneficial. Now, Dr. Hu Lin used this process to help heal an entire ward of mentally ill criminals. I wrote about it with his help in my first book, called Zero Limits, my first book on Ho'oponopono. 10 years later, I wrote another book about Ho'oponopono called At Zero. And then I created a trilogy and wrote the 3rd book called The 5th Phrase. But I'm telling you, all you need to know and all you need to do is take what I'm sharing with you right now as a great gift to you, this spiritual technique, this modern Ho'oponopono, and use it for anything that's bothering you at any time. Now, obviously, you can do this anywhere with anyone. They don't even have to know. You can just do it internally, and you don't need to say it out loud, and it doesn't cost you anything to say it. Now, I've been teaching this long enough to know that there's a few questions people have, and I imagine you might have a few of them too, especially if this is a absolute basic, pure introduction to you of modern Ho'oponopono. One of the questions I get is, do I have to say them in a particular order? No. You say them in whatever order feels right to you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Mix it up. Say it whatever you like. The second thing people often ask is, do I need to feel the phrases when I say them? And the truth is, you don't need to feel it. And even Dr. Hu Lin once said, as long as you're saying them inside yourself, that's great. You'll get results. But I've found over 2 decades of doing this that I get faster results if I actually feel the phrases. That means when I say thank you, I truly am grateful. I truly feel thank you when I say thank you. And when I say I love you, I really open my heart and feel, oh, I love you. And the same with, I'm sorry or please forgive me. I really get into the states of emotion that those phrases conjure up. Because I have found that when you feel the emotions that go with the words, it accelerates the process of transformation for you. Another question that I often get is, why do I have to say I'm sorry or please forgive me? I didn't do anything wrong. I've heard that one a lot. And I point out, nobody's saying you did anything wrong. Nobody's saying that you violated any law. Nobody is saying that you need to be punished. The example I use is if you were walking through a crowded store, you're shopping in the grocery store, department store, shoe store, and it's crowded, and you turn and you bump into somebody. Don't you say, I'm sorry? You say, I'm sorry naturally and easily and automatically. It doesn't mean that you were bad in any way, shape, or form. What it means is you were unconscious. That's it. You didn't see the person there. You bumped them. And because you bumped them out of your unconsciousness, you say, I'm sorry. That's how you say, I'm sorry, or please forgive me. It's not an admittance that you broke some sort of traffic law and you're going to get a ticket. It is not that sort of crime and punishment mentality. It's more psychological. It's more the understanding that I was unconscious to my beliefs and unconscious to my behavior. And because of that, it created the situation that you're calling a problem. So you're saying, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. And I love you. It's very pure and it's very innocent. Now, because I did 3 events with Dr. Hulen, I know that there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of techniques, there's a lot of different things that you can do besides the 4 phrases. But what I'm trying to do here is give you an introduction to something that is incredibly powerful. I want to give you at least one more story to think about. Several years ago, my mother was dying. She was taken to the intensive care in the emergency room, and she was in Ohio. I was traveling, based in Texas, and the family was being called in. Like, this is it. She's leaving us. And it was a hard time, as you might imagine. And so I went to the hospital, and she was in a special unit of the intensive care, and there were 3 other people there. And the 3 other people died while I was there. This is how intense it was. You can feel the drama and the thickness of the fear, of the concern. And I sat beside my mother, who's in the hospital bed. And I'm not a medical doctor. My degrees are in metaphysical science and in marketing. I don't know medicine, so I can't help on that level. And I'm sitting there and I'm upset. I am honest with you. I'm transparent. I was upset. I was concerned. I was in fear. I'm her firstborn. My mother's there. My brothers are there. My sister's there. My father is there. And we're all just kind of shell-shocked. It's like, how do you handle this? What do we do about this? How do you stop this? So I knew that I was not at peace. So I took responsibility for what I was feeling and what I was seeing. And the only thing I knew to do was this Ho'oponopono. So I went inside myself. And as I'm inside myself, I'm just saying, oh, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Basically saying, I'm sorry for whatever beliefs that I might have had or created. Please forgive me for whatever role I or my ancestors created to make this situation. Thank you for healing me and remedying this situation. And I love you for the process. I love you for my life. And I just did it over and over and over and over again. And I did it until the nurses came and said, you have to leave, visiting hours are over, you can come back tomorrow. We all left silent, shaken, confused. I felt a little better. I can't confess to you that I was totally healed and my mother got up and walked and, you know, everything was sunny again and everything just went back to where it was before. No, I left shaken, feeling a little better, a little lighter, a little more trusting, a little bit more in faith. And then a miracle happened. The next morning when we went back, my mother was sitting on the side of the bed, alert, ready to go home. I didn't know how to explain it. Nobody explained it or tried to explain it. We were just grateful for it and accepted it. And she went home. We took her home. She lived for another, I think, 4 years after that. Did the Ho'oponopono I practiced directly influence her, or just my perception and influence my perception enough to change the reality that I was participating in? I don't know. But I am forever grateful for having Ho'oponopono because that was the tool that I went to help me. So another question that I often get is people will say, can I use Ho'oponopono to change another person? No. Dr. Hulen taught me that that would be a violation of free will. What you want to do is change your perceptions of the other person. Much like what I was doing with my mother, I was working on me. I realized I was upset. So I was working on me saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, to help dilute the upset in me, hoping that diluting it would allow me to actually be at peace. And maybe that would change the illusion of my mother being on her deathbed. And then think of Dr. Hulen. Dr. Hulen actually changing himself as he was considering the inmates, his changing himself changed the inmates. So yes, there's all kind of ways to change out there in the world. There's all kind of tools and techniques, many of which I've written about. Lots of them throughout history have been offered. But modern Ho'oponopono is the gift that I want to give you today. This is something that has dramatically changed my life. It has dramatically changed the lives of, I would say, hundreds of thousands of people. Most of the reasons that I have been around the world is because people either wanted to see the man who was in the secret, me, or they wanted to see the man who brought Ho'oponopono to the world, me. I've gone on stages in countries where nobody spoke English. But when I started to talk about Ho'oponopono, they all spoke the 4 phrases in perfect English. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. They knew those phrases because, especially the first book, Zero Limits, it deeply impacted them. And this could impact you. Now, I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. This is Zero Limits Living. And the man that I've been talking about, Dr. Hulen, who taught me Ho'oponopono, died a few days ago. And I am emotional, though at peace. And this show is dedicated to him. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Ho'oponopono. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. If you haven't heard of it, brace yourself, because it's the most powerful, the most transformational, the most magical, the most miraculous technique I've ever come across. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. I've written 80 books. I've recorded 15 albums. I have 200-some products. I have a coaching program, certification programs. But nothing ever has had the impact in my life as Ho'oponopono has. I've been teaching it to other people since around 2005. There is great depth to it, though it's very simple. On the very superficial level, there's really only 4 phrases, and you're kind of saying them as a quiet prayer or petition. But there's so much more to it than that. And what I really want you to do is check it out. I want you to check it out for you, your family, your friends, and ultimately for the world. It's that powerful. And as I like to say, expect miracles.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.